Okay, so we will start with the background. What is automated version control? So version control is basically like a track changes, but it's like on the online system that you can do it. For example, you have one document, and for example, you add another line at the end, and then you add more lines. So the version control is like it's like a software that can keep track all of that changes into like a version history. However, things get more complex. For example, if you collaborate with other people, for example, you're editing the code. Code is basically a same like text file, but for example, you change on the second line and the other people change on the last two lines. And then when you merge it or commit, it will cause some conflict because the system get confused. Okay, so which version do you want to be the final version? So yeah, with the GitHub, we can collaborate with others. Basically, we will discuss that deep after this. We will use the term like commit, and we will have like term like repository, where repository can cap sync across different computer. So I think it's better to show you in the example rather than explaining you this. So yeah, version control is like unlimited undo because you can keep track all the changes. You can revert back, for example, if you mess up with the code. And yeah, version control like GitHub allows many people to work in parallel. Okay, so our second step is setting up the Git. So to at the beginning, make sure you also have a account in GitHub. But if you still don't have any account in GitHub, make sure you can register with your email later on because we will require this connected to our real GitHub account. So at first, we can copy paste the first one and change this to your name. Sample. I think it's better to use your personal email rather than the student email because the student emails uh, it will lock you after your intern period. But sometimes it depends also on supervisor. I- If the code is very sensitive and they ask you to use your uh, student email or Pawsey email or CSIRO email, uh, I think you need to ask your supervisor. But yeah, I recommend. Okay, then yeah, you can have the with your personal email because student emails once you graduated, the account will lock you out. And now we first set the username, and the second one we set the email. I already have my email registered in the GitHub. Yes, that's correct, JC. So you already have a Git account with your email. Just use the same email, and later on we can connect from this terminal to that remote repository. Have anyone put their username and email? You can register the email later on. I think it's on the 7th step. So for now, we just set up the local repo. And then next one, we want to add this command because the end of line input between Mac and Windows is a bit different. So make sure you just put the like the auto CRLF input. So there's no conflict between if your friend, for example, using Windows and you're collaborating from Linux or from Mac. So it's good just put this config. For Jade, I think um, when you log into your GitHub, you can try to log out and log in because when you log in, it requires you need to put your email and the password.
You could also maybe check your email and just type in GitHub to see if you've gotten any emails from them.
Yeah. Okay. So simple setup. Have anyone have any issue with simple setup? No issue? Okay, then I'll go to the next one. So here is the editor setup. Uh, so by default, when you didn't put any of, for example, the default text editor from the GitHub is a theme. But personally, for me, theme is a bit difficult because it's require like advanced. Uh, for example, to quit, you need to put like Q and W. So usually people just use this one, the Nano, or you can use any of the editor that you want. But yeah, for this training, we're gonna use like Git with Nano, since the training in the intro in Unix also using Nano. And later on, if you want to change it's for example, you're familiar with VS Code, you can change it later on. Just yeah, this is all the command that you need to put in. The next one is default branching. So we will put this command. So previously, Git have like master instead of main, but yeah, that name is not too good, and that's why they change it to main. So to initiate our git config, we will use this command. And you can check your setting with this dash list. So here is all that we already put from the beginning. Our username, email, and this is the auto CRLF. And the editor, we choose Nano. And we create the default branch as a main. To quit, you just need to type Q and we'll go back to the terminal. Have anyone any issue? Okay. Next one is proxy setup. Proxy setup is not common, so we'll not use this one. So basically, this one will be used if your company is like private company and they have their own subnet. And to connect to the regular network, you need to use proxy. But yeah, in our training, we will not use proxy. But if you want to set up proxy, you can use this command. Yeah. Like yesterday training, if you want to know what is all the command, you can try with test hates or test help to show you what is the command that will be accepted by the GitHub or the Git command. So I think that's it for the setting up Git. So use git config with the global to configure a username, email, editor, and the other preference once per machine. So if you already have all of this step already, then yeah, you are done with the setting up the Git. Anyone have any issue for this one? All good for setting up the Git? Okay, I believe there is no issue. So I'll move forward. Working with files and directories. Okay, we have a scenario like Moon, Wolfman, Dracula, Mummy, Mars, and planets. So at first, we will create a directory called planets. And then after we create the directory, we can move to the directory. And you can check with ls -a. We don't have any file. We only have dot file and dot dot. And to initiate, we will create like the planets as the repository. So we will put this command git init. Yep. And then if we check with ls-a, we already have this .git file. It means we create the planet as the repo. You can check the status of your Git with git status. And we're on the branch main, and we don't have any commit yet. So it's just like a fresh setup for your Git account. Okay, in this one, we have some scenario. Along with the tracking information about the planets, the project that we have already created, Dracula would also like to track information about moons. Despite Wolfman's concern, Dracula created Moon's project inside his planet. Project with the following sequence of the command. So what we do just now, we just done this one. We just create the planets. And let's try, we need to create mkadir moons. We need to create moons directory. So report that. So the next one, we will create moons inside of our planets. And then we go to cd moons again. And now Dracula want to create the moon as a subdirectory in the GitHub. So we try the git init. Now we also have .git in the moons. So is the git init command runs in the moon subdirectory required tracking files stored in the moon subdirectory? So what we did is we already create git init on the planets, right, at the beginning. And now we create subdirectory inside of the planets called moons. And afterwards we do a git init. So is it the correct way? So the answer is no. Because when you create the init at the planets, all the subdirectory or the subfolder inside of the planets, it will be tracked by the GitHub or by the Git, sorry. So you don't need to create init git on each of the folder, because if you create init on each of the folder inside of the first one, it means you create like nested repository. So we suggest you only create one git init on the original file. That's it. You will not find this error because I think it's a different version. So if we go back to planets, so yeah. So make sure to remember you only create git init on the first one, but not in the subfolder. And now let's fix how can we undo this thing? Basically, we can remove the git init. Similar like yesterday training, we can remove the file that we have here. We can put F like for forcing to remove. If you see now, after we remove the git file is already the .git file already removed from the moons. And yeah, remember git init is to initialize a repository. Git store everything, every of its repository data in the .git directory. Have anyone have any issue creating the repository? Is it the concept clear? If any question, please just chat. Put it on the chat. Okay, I'll go to the next step, tracking changes. So the objective is how do I record changes in Git? How do I check the status of my version control? And how do I record the notes about what changes I made? So we go back to the planets directory. And then we want to create the mars.txt. So we do nano mars.txt. For example, we add this text here. Control X to save. Yep. And we can check with cat mars.txt to see. Yep. So the text is already stored correctly in mars.txt. We have checked this one. We have checked the text too. And now we can check with git status because we already do some changes. We're adding some new txt file. To back from nano, you need to do like Control X. And to check what we have changed, we can click Git status. And we have seen that we have the untracked file called mars.txt, which is a new file. For Shubha, maybe Lara or Fahd can help him because it's already covered in yesterday training for using Nano on the intro of the Unix. Yeah. So it's still untracked file. So to add this changes, we can use git add and the file name. So when we already add the mars.txt, we can check the status again. And now the files already become green, which is already added to the staging states. I will explain this later on. What is the staging tag states? And now the git no, it's supposed to keep track of the mars.txt file because we already git add the file or we already git add the mars.txt. But when you add the status, git add, the record has been made any changes to the commit. So to do the commit, we need to use this command. This one is to save from the local file that you already changes, save it to the local repo of the GitHub. So make sure you git add is the first step. So GitHub know, okay, this file I need to do the changes. And afterwards you need to put git commit and -m, and you put the message here. For example, starting nodes on Mars as a base. So this is like the command, what did you change in your code? So once you git commit, it means the local file already stored in the local repo of the GitHub, but not connected on the web page. So this one is the web page. Later on, we will do this, I think on the step number 7. But what you did here, everything will be stored just locally, not in the remote repo. So we did a git commit. Yep, and the commit is already finished. So if we do the git status again, the file is already committed. Yep. Yes, that's correct, Suleiman. So if you already do the changes and you sure that, okay, this is the correct version, after you git add, you need to git commit. Otherwise, it will not even store in the local one. So that to command is very, very important to run it like simultaneously. After you git add, you need to git commit. So once you git commit, it will be stored in the local repo. So if you want to revert back, you already have the log in the local repo. Is it clear, Suleiman? Okay. Yeah. So now we already committed, so it means the file that we have, the changes that we have on mars.txt already stored in the local repo. We can also use git log to check. So in git log, we can see that I've done the changes. And yeah, about this, I'll explain later about the head and the main. So starting notes on Mars as a base. This is the comment that I put when I commit to the local repo. So it's already recorded. Now we can also check using we want to add another text on the mars.txt. So we nano mars.txt. When we put the new changes here, save it. And to check, we can check with git status and see that the mars.txt is modified. We can use git diff to check. For example, you want to check, okay, which line is changes or what is new in your changes. You can simply type git diff. And you can see here there's like the plus symbol and the green one. So it indicates this is the new line that you already add to your file or to your code. So to go back, just click Q. And that's it for the git diff. Is just to check which new line have you added to your text file. So staging. So after reviewing our changes, it's time to git commit. So we're gonna git commit. Because we already, let's see. As I see in the code, we still haven't git add, but yeah, this is for experimental. So we just try without any git add, and we just put the git commit here. And yeah, there's an error. So we need to git add first. And now we can do the git commit. Yep. And now staging. I think this is related to the what Sulaiman asked. So this is the staging area. So this is your local text. For example, you put it on your local computer, and then when you git add, basically you just store it on the staging area, but we haven't put it on the repo yet. So it's like a buffer things. So that's why we need to git add first, which means you already put in the staging area, and later on you can git commit to really store it on your repo. And this repo later on will be connected to your GitHub account, and your GitHub account will sync with this repository, but not with the staging area. So staging area is sort of like a local storage So you can git add first in the staging area. So now we can, to explain this later, I will walk through all this example. So we can download the mars.txt again, and we add another file, another text. And we save it. To check, we can have a git diff. And we see that there's another line that we just added just now. So now we can git add mars.txt, which means we already add this to the staging area here after we git add. But if we type the git diff, there is nothing changes. If you remember, we just create the changes, right? That's because the local file that we have changed, we already moved this, for example, this text file to the staging area. So to check, you can use another command called git diff test states. So if you see here, the changes already moved to the states area. So now you can like assure, okay, this is already put at, so it's already here by using this command. So it shows us the difference between the last committed changes and what's in the staging area. This is a good diagram that explains the difference between git diff and git diff test states. So git diff is only between your text file, but before the staging area. And git commit is after you have the staging area, after you change your text file to staging area, and you want to put it to your local repo, you use this command, give diff states. So it's like before you commit it, you can check with this command. But before you add it, you can check with this command, with git diff. Anyone clear for the concept of the staging area? Okay, there's no confusion, I think. So now we just git commit to make sure all the text that we have changed and stored in the staging area, we just commit it to the repo, to our local repo. Okay. And we can check with git status again to see if there are any undone job. Yep, everything is already committed. You can check with git log to see what is the changes that we have done. So it's sort of like history. This is like the first one that we have created. And this is the second changes, and this is the third changes that we just created just now. And yeah, that's it for the staging. Yep, so if you do the git commit without -m, it will go to the text editor, your preferred text editor. By default, it will go to the Vim. But yeah, better just put the git commit -m. So you can just put the comment next to your command. Okay, the important facts that you should know that Git does not track directories on their own. So only if you have file inside of it, GitHub will keep track of it. So we can have a try by creating only a folder or a directories. We create new directory spaceship and we can check with Git status. If you see like the Git didn't keep track of it. And we can try to git add spaceship to ask, okay, Git, please keep track of this one. We can check again with Git status. Yep. So still, Git didn't want to keep track of this because the folder is empty. So we can have a try by adding a file, an empty file, using tuts. So now if you ls -f spaceship, we can see that Apollo 11 and Sputnik 1 is already there. So which means there's already a file inside of the spaceship folder. Can check its status. And the spaceship directory now registered in here on the Git. So you can git add spaceship. You can just add the folder. And you can check with git status. Yep, the new file already added to the staging area. Before moving on, we will commit these changes. Yep, and then we commit, which means these two files already stored on the local repo. Yep, to recap, when we want to add changes to our repo, we first need to add change file to the staging area by using git add. Then commit the states changes to the repository with git commit. So these two files, put it on the staging area with git add, and then git commit to store it in the local repo. Okay, for the exercise, which of the following commit message will be the most appropriate for the last commit to the mars.txt? So yeah, the first one just changes. The second one, edit line, and then all the text that we put. And the third one is discuss the effect of Mars. So anyone can give the answer for this one. So what is the appropriate comment that you can put while you do the git commit? Yes, that's correct. Number 3. Because the first one is too short. It's not informative. It's just like changes, but we don't know what we changed. The second one, you just repeat all the text that you have. For example, you added like 30 line of code. So it doesn't mean you will add that on this spot, right? So it's better to just give the brief information. What is the changes that you why you add that changes, and you give the comment here in the git app for the message. Yeah, it's not descriptive. Answer 2 is redundant with git diff. Yeah, basically this is what you get from the git diff. Yeah, and then the third one is good because it's short, descriptive, and imperative. So good one. So which command below would save the changes of my file.txt to my local Git repo? Anyone can answer this one? That's correct, Shivam. So you need to git add, remember, and then you need to git commit if you already git init, okay? Yeah, 3 is the correct answer. Okay, now we have the exercise, committing multiple files. Staging area can hold changes from any number of files that you want to commit as a single snapshot, like the previous exercise that we did. So we first add some text to Mars, noting your decision to consider Fred as a base. And we create new file, venus.txt, with your initial thoughts about Venus as a base for you and your friends, and changes from both files in the staging area, and commit those changes. Yeah, basically we add some text here, and we create new file and add some text. Uh, how can we add to the staging area and commit it to the repository? For this one, we can nano first. We can add this text to the mars.txt. Save it. Check with cat. Yep, the changes is already there. And then now we change the venus.txt. I think this one we create new text. Yeah, because we don't have. So we can add this line to the venus.txt. Yes, I think that will be covered in the next step on the recovery, exploring history. So in here we will, yeah. And yeah, now we can add both git add. So we can check by git status first. Oh, sorry. Cat venus.txt. Make sure you already save it on your local machine. And then you can check with git status. See you have modified, and we have this one like on track because this is new file and we never git add. So we git add 2 of them. Modified and new file, just correct. You can also do it manually, like this. Now we just git commit to the repo. Yep, 2 files change, and then we create the venus.txt. Yep. Yeah, this one just an exercise. Basically it's the same with this one. And to recap, git status show the status of the repo. Git add put the file in the staging area, and git commit save the state's content as a new commit in the local repo.